Morning. So, Skew is a very popular glitch in DK64, and what it essentially does is it rotates the Kong's angle so that it's able to mess with collision detection, so that you can go through walls like so. And with Skew, it is unbelievably easy to go through walls. With DK, it's harder because it's just with DK. But if we look with Diddy, it's literally as easy as that. And so today I'm going to be showing you 7 different methods there are to get Skew, and on top of that, how to do them, because it is a common problem that people have issues with getting Skew. And I'll also show you backups if it fails. Something you must remember before I start, with Skew, you cannot jump, like plain jump. You can pull out the guns and jump, like so. You can backflip. And funnily enough, with DK, if I can actually get an attack barrel, you can also roll and jump, and like that. That somehow works. But if you just jump, you can see that the Skew angle is lost and you can't go through walls at all. So with this, I would advise, and in general, I'd advise being either Diddy or Tiny. And I'd also advise that with all these methods, bar maybe Canon Interruption Skew, you really want to be on NTSC because it uses a glitch which is US exclusive, and on PAL and JP it was fixed. So first is Gun Skew, as I said. Now what you want to do is dive, swim through vertical walls so you can go through walls like that. That's the NTSC exclusive part. Now, when you're kind of far enough away from water, just jump. And you'll notice that Diddy, or whatever Kong you have, is on the floor. Now, with your camera kind of like this, the camera position isn't specific at all, it's just easier to see where you're going. Pull out your guns, and you'll notice that when you head towards inbounds, that he'll start swimming again. And that's because you walked under real water, let's say. Now what you want to do is you want to surface, and I would advise going over this gate here. In most situations, in most situations you're going to want to gain height somehow, and going over something resets your floor height. And then once you've gone over this, you want to kind of go over here, or go where you're going to inbounds. Then you want to dive. Now you'll notice that Diddy can't dive right now. I'm pressing Z and Diddy can't dive. Now this is a very common issue, and I was going to get onto this later, but why not? If this happens, what you want to do is you want to swim back so you're in real water, but still out of bounds. And that's because going into water oscillates your height. And so, because you're resetting your floor value and the game thinks that the floor is at the same level as DK's cage, if you get low water, you will not be able to dive because you're too close to what it thinks the floor is. So if you go back in the water and try to swim out when you're at high water, you will be placed at high enough height to fully dive. So I assume we've gotten high enough height here. And you can see that I'm able to dive and I'm able to hold up. Now, if you surface early, that's because you can dive, but you're still too close, and I would still recommend going back in the water. Also, to note, do not jump, because otherwise you'll be on where it thinks the floor is, and it is, to my knowledge, not possible to get back Gun Skew without having to redo the whole setup. So do not jump right now. You want to dive, look up, and then see up, and it doesn't matter like what angle you look with see up. You can look that way, or that way. It's just bringing you out of the swimming animation. Retract your guns and backflip inbounds, and there you go. You've got Skew with Diddy. And that is the basics of Skew. There are some different areas where it will be slightly different. Like for instance in Llama Temple, the going over water is actually, instead of going over DK's cage, you go over where the free Lanky area is. So damage Skew is less relevant, I would say. it's only going to be useful in a couple of cases, but in Bingo, it's really useful for Castle because that means you do not have to get super duper Simian Slam. Now what you want to do is you want to dive, swim through vertical walls, and you want to find an enemy which can damage you, and it kind of takes some knowledge of the game. But you want to be finding an enemy which can damage you. Luckily in Jungle Japes there's a beaver which is behind here. The camera can be a bit finicky, that's just DK64, being classic DK64. And you can see that we're kind of in the beaver area. And if we swim over, you can see that we're now where the beaver is, and he's trying to get us, and that's because the beaver still thinks that we're here, which is correct, but yeah. Now, what you want to do is you want to dive and look up, and you want the beaver to notice you, and we're too far out of the beaver's range, and so he won't notice us. So you've got to kind of be careful with these because it's very easy to get damaged early and get pulled out of Skew or Skew at a bad angle. You see he's heading for us now, gets damaged, and we're pulled out of the swimming animation unnaturally. Right, so Isle Skew is a form of damage Skew, but I feel like I should cover it anyway because it is unique and it is also very, very useful if you're wanting to do Aztec early on VC at all. Because the standard methods uses oranges to lag, and if you know VC in terms of lag, you know that it doesn't lag a lot, and so doing that is theoretically hard. So Isle Skew kind of sorts that because you're able to skew through the wall. So what you want to do here is you want to be this place, and you'll note how the beaver is here, and that's because we're going to be damaging off the beaver. So you want to dive, like so, and you want to face up, but as you're about to surface, look up, and so you're at this angle. And then when you go out of sea up, instantly dive and start swimming through shores, which is a trick. You press Z and you mash B. Now, hopefully, the beaver will notice you, and if he notices you, great, he can knock you out and onto upper ground. At this point, if you have warp 3 tags, brilliant, and you can just warp 3 back. I don't have warp 3 tag because I'm unprepared. But then you can just go here, tag another Kong, or you can go straight up to warp 2. I'm actually going to head there. Here you can see we're back up at warp 2. And we're going to be testing whether this would clip us into Aztec. Now you can see it does there. Now, if it doesn't, it means that your skew was too bad. And if that does happen, I would advise tagging Diddy and trying to clip through, because Diddy is easier to clip through walls than DK with Skew. So try it with Diddy and it may work. If it doesn't work, then just try again, you're fine. Enter a tag barrel to replenish your health if you really need to. And so yeah, Canon Interruption Skew is a recent discovery actually in terms of when it comes to Skew. And it's not really useful in a lot of places. So this is one of the ones which doesn't use water, and I would say that if you're routing anything on PAL and Japanese, I would advise attempting to do to put Canon Interruption Skew in your route, because in Japes you can get a ton of bananas easily with Skew, and Canon Interruption Skew doesn't involve any ledge clips or anything like that. So what you kind of want to be is you want to be in front of a cannon, and you want to have a wall which is going to bounce an orange back at you. And for instance, it's this wall right here. What I would do with this is aim it so you're kind of looking at the centre of the gate here. And this is with Japes, but with other levels you can just experiment. And then just throw an orange. And you'll notice that it will blow us back as it should do. So yeah, that will happen if you get too close, you'll just go in, and it's no worries, you just can just drop down and you'll be fine again, and it won't mess with the trick at all. So you want to be close, as I said, aim for kind of this area here, and throw an orange. Now, when it goes to the second bounce, you want to head into the cannon and you'll be facing downwards. This is where Cannon Interruption Skew is a little bit special because it is one of the, I think it's one of the only skews which faces you downwards naturally. It's hard to be put in an upward state because of the way that cannons work. And with other Kongs, it's kind of hard to go through walls. With DK, it's kind of easy. You just have to kick at it, and DK goes back, or he's pushed back, and he can therefore clip into walls like normal. But with other Kongs, it's a little bit difficult. And the way that works with all Kongs, I would advise, pull out your gun and then just jump back. That's because when you have your gun out, you don't lose skew at all. So look, I'm jumping as normal and still not losing skew at all. Enguarde Skew is one of the few skew methods which is Kong specific. You can do it as other Kongs, but that requires TBS, and TBS is utter nonsense for a skew method which doesn't really have a lot of practical applications. So what you want to be doing is you want to be swimming upwards so you get enough speed to get a nice high jump, but you want to be de-transforming as well. So you want to be you want to be down pretty far, I guess, and then you want to be starting to swim up like so. It's kind of difficult to get the hang of, and I would definitely recommend if you're new to skew, you probably want to be doing it here rather than in the lighthouse area. This isn't really useful, as I said, because you're surrounded by water. It's a water level. Most things are underwater. The only real use is on PAL, I guess, or JP. You could, if you really wanted, find a way into the money or gold tower room. That would save you having to do this as on guard, although you'd still have to get it in on guard. You can always rocket barrel in as well, or you can do seal race skip with this method. There's a few uses it has, but it's not many. But I might as well put it in here because it is a method of skew which isn't completely useless. Now the final method is called Cannon Interruption Skew. I'm on emulator because emulator is a lot easier to understand this. And also it kind of covers some technicalities, but this is kind of tough and almost never always useful, aside from a couple of interesting glitches which you can do, called portal storage. Portal storage in terms of DK portal storage and Travel Scarf portal storage. But aside from that, it's in other cases not useful. So what you want to be doing is you want to uncrouch into this. This was a technique found by Adam Whitmore. The old method was to damage into it. And if you do it correctly, which I didn't do there. So there we go. You can see that my X value is changing. And you can also hear that Chunky's splashing now. But you can see that my my coordinates are changing, and that's because I actually have control of Chunky, believe it or not. Now what you want to do is you want to face down so that Chunky dives, and then face upwards, and you can see that Chunky's facing a upwards Z angle. And then when it pulls you out, you can see it skewed. We lost it there. See if we can try and get it again. And as you can see, we've now got skew with Chunky in Cannon Game Room. As I said, this is pretty much useless. But I guess if you really want to meme, you can do this. So yeah, pretty much the steps are uncrouch into this so you gain control of Chunky whilst you're in the cannon. You then want to get into water, you want to dive, and then you want to be facing upwards so that Chunky will be rotationally at 274, whatever. He's just at a different angle than normal, and then you want to expend all your shots, or you want to run out of time. Either way, whichever one's going to bring you up to here. And because that's an unnatural way of exiting skew, just teleporting back up, it will just give you your skew and keep you at the angle you are. That should be it thank you for watching, guys. Hopefully that helped some people. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask and I'll get back to it as soon as possible. So yeah, thanks for watching.